Good day to you, Carl, and welcome back for, I think this is our third chat, isn't it? Is that our third one?
I think it is our third. I was a bit confused when we messaged when I was looking for the subject matter. I thought it would be third
Yeah,
or
I
fourth.
know.
Yeah,
You're so ahead of everybody.
It's like going to the seaside after you've been to a few resorts. They all blend into one, don't
I
they?
know. That's it. And so this episode, we're going to be talking about your January article that as we're writing, it's literally in print at the moment. So we have the front cover. Oh, I don't know if we can even see it. I don't know if we can see it properly. It's not
Oh, it
showing
is.
up very well.
Yeah, not really
Just
good,
about
but
see it.
you can see it.
We just about see it, but it's a very beautiful image of the Big C, actually created by Joe Lomax. The January edition will be coming out very shortly, and your article in it in this quarter is Pride Before the Fall.
Mm.
So, yeah, what's the overview of your article really? If we're just going to give a very brief summary of what it's about.
Yeah. Well, we can't tell them too much, can we? Otherwise,
No,
they
we
won't
don't
have to
want to
read.
tell them too
They
much.
won't have to read it.
Yeah,
And it's Pride Before the Fall. And I don't mean the autumn. This is not for the.
no,
This is not for the Americans. Before the fall. You know, I think my article starts off with something like my nan used to say to me, your pride comes before a fall.
yeah,
And I was just looking for a good title when it came to that. But
yeah,
what I wanted to discuss and I want to kind of throw it out there because this is affecting an awful lot of people, and they're doing it to themselves. And what it's about is this: our I don't societal pressures. I think this is some of us. Is it societal pressures, our own ego, our the way we perceive successful business, all that sort of stuff, is getting in the way of actual successful business. And what I mean, just in broad terms, is lots and lots of people are much more concerned about how their business looks to the outside
mm,
world than how the business really is to themselves and their family. So,
yeah,
I think the discussion points really are around things like social media. All right.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and it's been going on since the dawn of social media. We've seen all these people, don't we, on Instagram, sitting on their
Yeah,
Ferraris and sitting on the bonnets of their Lamborghinis and all that sort of stuff. And we
yeah,
think, oh, I better do what they do because I want to be like them.
yeah.
Um, and when we have that emotion, I'm not blaming any of the salon owners or the solopreneurs because that's a natural thing. Yeah, we look
Yeah.
for success in other people, and if it's something we want, we try and copy that. But the reality is different. And
Absolutely, because you can't always live everybody else's lives, can you?
well, the thing is, the first thing is, as a salon owner, or just as people, right? We can't live their lives, we can't replicate their lives, but that isn't the problem because I think if it's a genuine situation they're in, you see, if you're, I don't know, you're probably doing it within your business, and there's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with this. Let's say you see a really good, I don't know, magazine editor, or you see a really good
Yeah.
business coach. There's nothing wrong with saying, wow, they're doing really well. Let's see what they do and replicate their
Mm.
good bits.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you would be daft not to do that. So I might do the same. I look
Mm.
at coaches outside the industry and say, oh my God, look at the way they're presenting this and doing this. The caution is you've got to be certain that what you're following is genuine.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
and that's the fall. Okay. So
Yeah.
the pride bit is, oh, look how good I am, right? Look how good how shiny my images are. Look how shiny my social media is. Okay. So there's your ego, there's your kind of pride. Look at me. Yeah. And the fall is, oh, that ain't real. I'm bloody skinned.
Yeah. Well, this is it, and I think it's really hard, isn't it? Because what, like you're saying in your column, there's the thing of like looking successful and actually being successful are two very, very different things. And I think we're all very guilty of looking to see how green the grass is somewhere else. And how do I get my grass to be that green? What kind of fertilizer do I need to do? How much water
Mhm.
do I need? And the thing is, if you haven't got the right mix and the right blend of all the different recipe parts that make up why their grass looks so green, and if if they're selling you astroturf instead of real grass,
Yeah.
then yeah, then you've got a problem, haven't you? And I think
Yeah.
that it's funny because Teresa Fodderin wrote simply was writing about like influencer or expert. And I think, we have a problem in this industry that's social, and I think it's probably not limited to this industry, but I think it's prolific in this industry, that we see social media and we believe what we see. And
Yeah.
we are getting evidenced over and over again now that actually everything you see isn't always that real. So
you
just
know.
be very mindful, buyer beware.
Well, look, I come at it from a much lower level than that. When I'm sharing this with my clients, so this is my membership clients, my members, all one to one. There's always this discussion at some point. Now, lots of them don't like this discussion because it kind of bursts their bubble.
Mm,
So usually, as a salon owner of or, salon spa or clinic, they see a competitor and they hold them on a pedestal. They hold them in high regard. Now, it could be in their town, in their area, or it could just be simply someone they've seen on social media. The difference is those types of salon owners over the last 15 or 20 years with me have contacted me. I have worked with them. Yeah. I go to the shiny salon, I look at the big chandelier and I look at the 15 staff and I look at the leather chairs and I look at the marble floor and then I sit down with them and we look at their accounts and then they have a breakdown. All right. But you're driving past, right?
yeah,
Yeah. And their shop is full,
yeah,
right? It's full and it's shiny and their socials are full and their socials are shiny. Say that after a beer. Their
yeah,
socials are shiny and we fall into it.
yeah,
And kind of the article isn't to criticize the salon owners falling for it. It's to actually say, um, it's okay that you're falling for it in the sense of it's normal and it's natural and it's human, but the reality check is those shiny salons with the shiny chandeliers and the marble floors that are genuine, profitable businesses are really, 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 really rare.
yeah, yeah. There's because that stuff doesn't that comes at a cost, doesn't it? And it's like, and if you're setting up a salon and you're getting all of that stuff in place, just the marble floors, thousands of pounds.
Oh,
And unless you've got that money behind you,
yeah,
and this is part of it, isn't it? It's like unless you've landed in an inheritance or you've sold a house and made a fortune or you've borrowed huge sums of money that you've then got to pay back.
yeah,
The reality of it, maybe you've managed to bag yourself an investor who's got all
yeah.
that money. But the
Well,
chances are
yeah,
there's usually a lot of debt or sheer luck behind having a salon like that.
yeah.
In my
Well, usually,
experience, anyway,
yeah.
when I've what
Well,
I've
no, no,
seen.
you're totally right. I mean, the debt might be genuine. The debt might have been organized. They might have borrowed, so much money from the bank, and that debt takes a long time to pay off as well. So
Yeah.
you're looking at this big shiny salon and you're thinking they're making a lot of money because, as everyone knows by now, massive turnover isn't the equivalent to massive profits.
Although I
Yep.
don't know if everyone does know that, Carl. I think there's still some people out there that might not know that.
Well, there might be. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But it's look, the this not so much the hair side of things, but on the beauty side and the clinical side, the aesthetics, we know this with a machine. Yeah, we spend 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,
Mm,
80,000 pound on a machine, right? And then we go off and maybe we don't have enough treatments. Well, look, you've got to pay for that machine for the next 5 years.
yeah.
And you got maintenance and you got to replace the guns and all that sort of stuff. So your accounts might be showing that your turnover is good again. Yeah, and people are looking on you. So, oh, they're big and you got two of these machines, three of these machines. You got £250,000 in debt. Okay, it's
Mm,
obviously a capital expenditure, but it is still not a true reflection of what you see on the surface.
no.
You
And
know?
also, and I think as well, and especially with the machines, is that you to keep those machines busy enough to pay for themselves is actually quite a hard thing to do.
Yeah,
And I think as well that when you have salons that appear to be really successful, is that they are very swan-like, and there's that all that beautiful gliding on the surface, and
yeah,
underneath there's probably a really stressed salon owner
yeah,
who's really is under a lot of pressure
yeah,
and is paddling like mad, just trying to
yeah,
keep that gliding presentation to the public out
mm,
there. And I
yeah. So
think it's a shame, isn't it, that we can't that we do fall for it. We do believe that they are super successful and super amazing and
yeah,
everything is glossy and they're holidaying in Barbados 5 times a year and
so, yeah,
driving top range Tesla.
yeah. Well, there's going to be people listening to this with Teslas, and they're going to be. I always have this conversation with them about their posh cars. You know, I ask people, when I'm working with them in the salons, what's car? And they'll say, oh, I got this, 100,000, 200,000 pound car, but my finances are not so good. And I say, why do you need it? Why do you want it? Because it's the same part of the problem. Most people only have a really, really posh car because of what other people think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not many people actually have a posh car because they need that posh car. Right. And I'm not talking about the billionaires and the multimillionaires. They can do whatever they want. I'm talking about people who are still in the throes of growing a well-defined business with good financial health. You do not need to have unnecessary expenditure tied up. Okay. In any shape or form, but car was just a quick example. So yeah, so this is on different levels. Oh, and by the way, if you are that shiny salon owner, that salon spa or clinic, we know about you. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Come and talk
I-
to us.
yeah, no, seriously, yeah. If you are that person, you haven't got to kind of keep faking it, or you haven't got to keep suffering, or under the under the surface. Yeah, reach out. We can help you. Um, genuinely make people jealous of you in your local town or area.
Yeah. It's
So,
just difficult, isn't it? It's such a hard because the thing is that they and all of that, the stuff with the posh car, like you're saying, is that point is, we know it is that whole thing about
yeah,
that maybe you believe that if you live it that much, it will happen. That whole manifestation scenario and all of that kind of thing. There's so much that why people buy into doing that. And
mm,
it isn't. It's like a status of like success and a status of I've achieved all these different things that enable me to get
yeah,
myself into that much debt because
yeah,
basically that's what it is, isn't it?
yeah.
I suppose, I mean,
Well,
we've been there a bit over the years and bought things we probably shouldn't have bought, and
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think we all do, but it's just having awareness. Look, I'm not actually criticizing anyone here. If
Yeah.
you've got a big shiny salon and you're successful, bloody brilliant, well done, right? I'm kind of more talking to the people who are looking at the shiny salon who isn't successful now. This person is going away and trying to replicate this. But what you might be replicating is a certain level of failure.
Mm,
And that's what was the purpose of the article. To say, whoa, what you can see is not necessarily true. Now it might be, I don't, there's around 10% of the industry which is really glitzy, glamoury, and making a ton of money. Brilliant. Well done, guys. Um, for people looking in, we don't necessarily want to replicate that because there's a high percentage, 80 or 90%, that are break even or making a loss. So that was the kind of first thing. It was like a shot across the bows. The second phase on this is the first thing that I see salon owners do when they replicate this is replicate it in their social media.
mm,
And why is this a problem for me? It's a problem for me as a coach when I'm working with someone because of the amount of effort that goes into the production of the content versus that time and energy being used for something genuine.
yeah,
So, I mean, I have got clients or have had clients who are absolute, I mean, ridiculously obsessed with the most amazing social media. They bring in production companies, they're running on the salon all day with a video, they've got the staff video in them, and they haven't got bloody 50 quid in the bank,
yeah,
right? Now, of course, good quality social media, good quality marketing per se, is one of the kind of pathways to growing and developing that business. Hands up, no problem there. But it can't be your focus.
no,
That's what you would be better off just jumping on a broadcast or jumping on a live saying, "Hi, I'm Carl. I've got this salon and I'm really a specialist in, I don't know, in anti-aging facial and pop round and see us for a cup of coffee. Yeah,
yeah.
take your
Because that's authentic, isn't it? And I think that's the thing when you start trying to
yeah,
replicate somebody else's
yeah,
version of something, it isn't about you, it's
yeah,
about them.
yeah. Well, also, I see too many salons doing these digital things for entertainment value as well. Now, of course, entertainment value can lead to engagement. Brilliant, I get that. We go viral, more people know about us. But per se, not many things go viral.
No, very, very difficult.
And because, there's all sorts of arguments we can have here, and I'm quite sure when this post goes out and someone listens to it, they'll say, "Oh, Carl, but you can't do this without doing." I'm not saying not do it. I'm not saying it's not successful. What I'm saying is you got X amount of time in your week. If you're going to spend your time doing things that are chasing, an empty shell, chasing a dream that may not exist, your that time could be used better. That's really what I want you to think about.
Yeah. I think because it's like the Emperor's New Clothes, isn't it? I think there's an element of that to this. And, is that you believe that you're doing these things for the right reason. And
Mm,
you believe that you're showing the world you in your Emperor's like shiny new clothes. In actual fact, if people know and understand what your business is about and they've been with you for a while and suddenly you start doing all these weird things that they don't recognize as you, it's
yeah,
like it is, isn't it? It can even be a turn off for people and can stop them from connecting with you.
yeah.
It's
Well, I mean, the thing is, an entertaining video isn't necessarily engaging because it has to be a discussion point.
mm,
You know, so I don't know. I see some great videos out there. I got some lovely friends, and I saw someone a really good video a couple of years ago where she, as a joke, of course, had her apprentices going around scrubbing the floors and with toothbrushes. You know what I mean? And
mm.
it's, oh, this is the detail, and he got loads of response, and everyone had a good laugh. Yeah, well done, guys. That was great. But I wouldn't have thought they got any sales from that. It probably
No.
took them the best part of a day. All right. By the time they've come up with the idea and someone went, oh, we got a toothbrush and popped down Tesco's, wherever they did, the investment isn't relative to the output. But
No.
what was really important to them is that on social media they look brilliant.
Mm.
And it's like putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
Let's get our businesses in good shape. Let's have everything in place. Let's have systems and procedures. Let's have rebooking done properly. Let's have really really great consultations. Let's have retail for the client. Let's have everything ready and get the business operating. And then right now, let's focus on social media. But we
Yeah.
invest in too much time in the glamour and glitz. So I'm not saying don't invest time in social media. I'm saying don't fool yourself because you're not fooling me. I'm not, and I'm not the coach, by the way. You're not fooling me, the client.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know it's, you do a nice glammy, glittery production, and then I come and sit in the chair, and your floors are dirty.
Yeah, yeah, that's it,
You know
isn't
what
it? I think, it's got to be open and honest, hasn't it? Whatever you're putting on social media has to
I mean?
be a reality check for your business.
Yeah.
People, and I think to a degree, sometimes like the best social, and I actually love a fellow coach of yours, Susan Routledge in the industry. I saw her a little while ago, and I've watched her for years, and I know Susan, but I've never seen inside her salon. And Susan did a personal walk through her salon. Oh my God, I was hooked.
Yeah.
And it showed all of the detail and just, something like that. And I mean, I'm never going to go to Susan's salon. It's like hundreds of miles away from me. I am most unlikely to go to it. However, out of general nosiness, probably a little bit, but it was real, it was authentic. It's the owner of the business walking through. And obviously, we know Susan in a different way to her clients, knowing her as a salon
Yeah.
owner. But to see the salon owner doing that walkthrough and saying, "Oh, and in this room we do these treatments, and this is how
Yeah.
you can experience it and what it's going to do for you."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I bet that post increased their clientele far more than
Yeah.
her receptionist joking around with an apprentice
Yeah.
doing, silly games or something, because it's a reality of what people are going to experience, isn't it? And I think
Yeah.
that kind of social media is so much more valuable.
Yeah. Okay. So let's look at two things here so far. The first one really is be wary of your competitors, okay, or other people in the industry that appear to be successful before you start to imitate or mimic the things they're doing. Make sure that you have some evidence that they are genuine before you kind of
Yeah,
replicate something. That's the kind of first thing. Secondly, when it comes to social media, be careful about how much time you're investing in the glamour and glitz of social media if the rest of your business operation isn't in good shape yet. That's
yeah,
that's kind of the cautions. And then I came up with another example in the magazine, which was around awards.
yeah,
Now, I'm very, very pro award, but when you read my article, you might not think so. Myself and some colleagues in the NHBF in Wales, we started the Welsh Hairdressing and Beauty Awards. Okay. And I was in charge of them for many, many years. And there are big pro benefits for marketing in terms of winning an award.
Massively.
So as far as the client is concerned, well done, that's brilliant. Okay. The client is going to see that it was worth the effort, perhaps. Don't stop doing them just because I've said this, guys. Go and do those things.
So I have to say, because I have my two
Yeah,
prized possessions, and they still live with me. These are my two scratch stars, and they live with me daily to
there we
remind
go.
me of everything I've achieved.
Yeah,
And yeah, and they're important. They are massively, if they're a good award, they're massively important.
yeah.
Sorry,
No, no,
just
it's fine. It's
start
fine.
the awards off.
However, see, what I'm trying to do with Salon Owners here is give you a little peek behind the scenes,
Mm,
right? You're looking at this glamour and glitzy salon that you aspire to be. I'm going in there and I'm coming out, and I can tell you now, many of those salons are in really bad business shape, right? So if you replicate them, you might replicate that success level. Now, when we get to awards, I again have seen and worked with salons that get really hyper focused on the awards. Now, it's a bit like the social media side of things. It becomes first of all, it becomes a personal reward, and I think we all look for that. We
yeah.
want
I still love
recognition.
my awards.
Yeah, yeah, no, I got some awards as well, and I'm very proud of them. And there's photos of me
Yeah,
all over my website and that sort of stuff.
yeah.
However, what I see is they go off and they really, really obsess with winning more awards. And then you'll see them doing other things. So it'll be like awards and gala dinners and London Fashion Week and Cardiff Fashion Week and all that, right? Behind the scenes, I tell you, this is happening. Behind the scenes, they are getting disgruntled staff and they're getting disgruntled clients. And their clients are leaving. The team's getting smaller. The business is getting smaller. Some ways they're victims of their own success because they win in all these awards. So they say, "Oh, I only want her then, or I only want him." Yeah, he keeps winning this hair award or this facial award or this waxing award, and because they are not focusing on the business anymore, but they're focusing on the ego side, they're focusing on the marketing side without any foundation. All of a sudden, they're distracted. See, all of the
Yeah.
stuff I'm talking about really is about: are you doing the things that you should be doing, or are you doing things that are distracting? And I just see it time and time and time again with glitzy social media and with awards that it can be distracting.
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I think, like the awards I've gone for, I did when I was in my salon, we became finalists without even trying for one particular award scheme. Which and I think if you become a finalist without trying, then maybe those awards. I mean, I've got whole columns, blogs, podcasts about this subject because it drives me mad. And I think if there's an award that's a good award that makes you go back and reflect on your business and reevaluate where your business is and look at your progression and make sure you're still progressing,
Yeah.
then that's a good award. But when you're getting awards that you've got to pay, to take your team is going to cost you like £1,000, £1,500 to take them to a gala dinner.
Hmm.
That's taking your eye off the ball and is taking money from what could be doing good things in your business.
Well, I see it when we spend a lot of time worrying about our image, not the
Mm,
brand.
yeah,
People don't understand brand. Our image. Yeah. Do we look really cool? Do we look, I mean, it could be part of your brand, of course. Do you know, what do we look like? Not what are we like?
yeah,
That's what I'm getting at. So I'm not saying I go and do social media, guys. Do tons of it. Do great websites. Right? Go and do awards. Win them all. Right?
yeah,
What I'm saying is, have you got a business that allows you to invest that much time before you go off and get distracted?
yeah.
That's
It's a hard question to answer, truthfully, I think.
well, they will know, right? I mean, the best way to look at this, if you want to know, is have a look at your track record over the last 2 years in hard numbers. Yeah. Have my sales gone up or down? Okay. Have my staff levels gone up or down?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? My profitability gone up or
yeah.
down?
Are my
Yeah.
team happy?
Well, that's what I'm saying about staff levels, because if they're not,
Yeah,
it's probably gone
yeah,
down, right? And if the answer is yes, sales are going up, profits going up, my team are happy, and I've got good retention rates, I probably say, listen, you're doing something bloody right here.
Yeah,
Yeah, good on you. But if your standards are dropping, if your if your client turnover is high, if you're having to get more and more new clients all the time, because that's what the upside of all this glitz is. If you get all these awards and you get the social media, lots of glitz, then of course, if you've done it really well, you've got the attention of more new clients. But of course, they're going to come into a business where there's poorly trained staff, or it's not got the hygiene, or whatever it is.
yeah.
So I'm just kind of saying, listen, guys, don't let your ego get in the way of a good
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. And I think as well, it goes back to the point you were making earlier about social media. And, when you spend, a day doing one video, you know, are your toilets clean? Is have you is if you're in hair, is your dispensary clean? You
Yeah,
know, what is suffering for you doing that? And I think like with my when I was doing my awards and I was doing Salon of the Year stuff with Scratch, my I was always really proud that when the mystery shoppers came into me, we'd always get a really good comment. And now it's actually on the questions because I judge it now. And it is one of the questions is what are the toilet facilities like?
mm,
And I think if you haven't got a shiny toilet because you're too busy filling out a form, go and shine your toilet first. Because
yeah,
to me, it's and whether I'm a client or an employee or doing it as like mentoring coaching, if I walk into somebody's salon and the back of house is not clean,
yeah,
anything where any client, even a client area, if you've got dirty this or dirty that, finger wipe test, if you can't have all that stuff in place before you put yourself in for awards,
yeah.
you shouldn't be entering them
No. Do you know
because
what?
it's
In
gonna
all,
it's gonna that's gonna be your downfall.
yeah, in all the years of coaching, I can't think of one instance, but somebody's out there's going to tell me you did it for me, Carl.
Yeah.
Um, I can't think of an example where I have actually coached any salon owner on marketing as the first thing in their business.
Mm.
I always tell them that's the last thing we're going to do. Now, it's the first thing they want to do because it's exciting and
Yeah.
it's sexy and it makes
Yeah.
them look good and they can get involved. And because it's creative, which is usually in line with, technicians and therapists and
Yeah.
hairdressers as well, then they want to do that. But it's kind of put in, again, the cart before the horse. The
Yeah.
things that we need are the basics. We need great consultations. We need a great setup. We need great client journeys. We need great rebooking systems.
Yeah.
So, so people will know. I think that if people are honest for themselves, if you are putting lots and lots of time into your social media, lots of times into awards, could be other things, by the way, which I don't go into the article. Maybe you're doing I don't know, how can you say, vocation things like, I don't know, helping out at a local college, yeah, or
Yeah.
something along those lines. Um, then and you then look at your business and say, oh well, actually, I don't sell retail. I can never seem to fill my staff in, all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Then you've got the wrong priorities.
Yeah. Isn't and I think there's just so many things, isn't there, where and I think like you saying like with marketing being the cart before the horse, I think people get excited about marketing because they think, well, and they're right, that marketing is what you put out there to bring new people into your business. And that most people think that if their business isn't going well, they aren't marketing correctly.
Mm,
And so their messaging isn't going out in the right way, or they're not appealing to the right ideal client, or all of that stuff that we all need to kind of have pinned down. It's really is it's tough stuff to get it right.
yeah.
But if when you do capture those clients and you do catch them in your net and you get them through the door, like you say, if the client journey is wrong, if even down to being able to make a good cup of tea, no, and it is like those real simple things. If you're providing a service where you offer refreshments, those refreshments, your cups need to be clean. They can't have chips in them. And
Yeah.
there's so many silly things, isn't there, that make up that client journey
Yeah.
that come before any level of marketing because it's all got to be right before the new people come through the door. Because if it isn't, they'll just walk back out again.
Well, look, the basis of all marketing is to ultimately achieve a sale.
Mm,
Yeah, and you don't want to achieve a sale on false pretenses.
no.
because it'll either be disingenuous or the client will identify that and not return. So,
Yeah.
yes, you've got to have everything in place. Look at the franchises. That's how franchises work.
Mm,
Everything that we buy more than once is on the basis of consistency.
yeah.
And make sure we just don't end this kind of this session on let's not market. Carl doesn't like
Yeah.
so I love
No, but
social
you know,
media.
because it's the most, it is fundamentally, we should be putting huge amounts of our budgets into marketing.
Well, yeah,
But and because it is so vital, and we all know that, nowadays social media is one of the biggest ways of
yeah,
doing that. I
yeah,
mean, there's many other ways of doing it too, which we won't go into. That's another whole podcast. But there's so many ways of doing it, but you've got to have your ducks in a row before you start shouting about them.
yeah, totally. I mean, so the overall thing really is make sure that before you go and replicate someone else's business, or if you're doing this at a personal level, before you try and replicate someone else's life. Remember keeping up with the Joneses, but before, you know, back in the whatever, I don't know, the 60s, 70s, and
Yeah,
80s, it was keeping up with the Joneses. You saw someone bought a BMW, and to keep up with them, you went and
yeah,
bought a BMW. Okay. Except, they were doctors and I don't know, and I don't know, your dad was a dishwasher, right?
yeah,
You have to be realistic about what you are trying to replicate.
yeah, yeah,
That's all really. That's all I'm saying is don't fool yourself. As much fun as it is, it's very distracting.
yeah,
Um, and it's not a criticism. It's just not a criticism because that's how we are tuned as
yeah,
humans. We see other people, we see something good. Why wouldn't we aspire to have something good?
yeah.
What I'm saying is we might be aspiring to something that's not genuine.
Yeah. And we just need to recognize what the limitations are around us and how we're working and how we're able to do or get even close to what those other people are doing. I think sometimes we just have to recognize that the area we're in or the premises that we're in or the team that we've got aren't going to give us necessarily the exactly same result, are they? It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
being reflective and understanding your real
yeah.
situation, isn't it, I
I
suppose?
mean, if the model that you're aspiring to is within your area, then it really, and they are genuine, then it is literally a systems and procedure challenge. If
Yeah.
you're aspiring to be something outside of your area or outside of your town or country even,
Mm.
then you have to have a level playing field to achieve that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is always a business model that can work, but whether that business model gives you the return that you deserve isn't necessarily going to
Yeah.
connect. And sometimes we have to say, in this town, in this street, in this city, we can't achieve our aspirations,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
maybe you've got low aspirations than you can, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
this is it, isn't it? Who knows? But I think it isn't it? It's just I think it's just working with what you've got, isn't it? And knowing that, yeah, I can
Well,
work towards, I can work towards.
yeah, yeah. Or move in, right?
Yeah.
Get out of that town.
Mm,
When I had my salons, they were all in the valleys of Wales. Okay,
yeah.
I not that far from Cardiff, admittedly, but they were in the valleys of Wales, and some of those places, in retrospect, didn't give me as good a return as some of the other
Yeah.
places, and maybe that location was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah, you can cut the cloth to measure, so to speak.
Mhm.
And you can say, because of the area I'm in, we can only achieve this. If that
Yeah.
aspiration is enough for you, good on you. If you're trying to aspire above that, you may need to change the whole model, introduce different services, or
Yeah.
move outside the industry altogether, or
Yeah.
move to a different location. We've gone off subject a bit, but there
I
is
know we have,
there,
haven't we?
there's
But
there's there's always a solution to a business.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why big companies, they move production to Japan or to
Yeah.
China, all right?
That's it.
Because
Yeah.
it can't be done in Huddersfield. You'll have all the
Yeah.
Huddersfield people on the phone now.
Yeah.
In Huddersfield. But that doesn't mean they had to close the business. They just had to change the way they
Yeah.
did it.
That's it. I know when I had my son and once I'd got my big award and I knew I was aspiring to be bigger, better, stronger, whatever. And I knew where I was. I was in a space that would not allow expansion. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? If you're limited by the space, you can't have that stuff because I physically couldn't fit a laser machine into my business because I
Mm,
didn't have the right space for it. So I couldn't even begin to aspire to those things because I
no.
was limited. And so then, the view was to move premises and do all that stuff. And then fortunately I didn't because then COVID hit. But yeah, but you never know, do you, what's around the corner? And I think that, we just have to recognize that sometimes we can have those dreams and work towards them, and other times we've got to make a lot of changes to be able to action them.
Yeah. And if it's a financial dream, don't forget, as opposed to a dream of mimicking standards, we also have digital opportunity as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you might be in the wrong town, wrong city, wrong street. I would suggest you move if you have a physical aspiration. But if you have a monetary aspiration, maybe it's the digital answer. Maybe you're going to get online, build a course, build
Yeah,
education and do something else. So there's
there is
always an answer to a
there
business
is
problem.
always an answer. We have so many untapped skills,
Yep.
don't we?
There we are,
Anyway,
Sue.
should we leave that there, Colin?
Oh,
I think
yes,
that's like
absolutely. And
there's a lot of treasures in there, I feel.